Hello everyone! The third and final part of Pandemonium will be releasing with patch 6.4, so before we head back into the raid, let's have a quick refresh of the story so far. It all started in Charlian, where we met with a scientist named Claudian. They were one of the scientists in charge of using the Aetherscope to research the ethereal sea, and while doing that they came across a unique crystal which they want our help with identifying. The crystal is familiar as it seems to be an Ascian memory crystal, very much like our Asim crystal, except this one doesn't have any indication of who it used to belong to. And the only thing it does is we can hear a faint voice from it calling for help to deal with something called Pandemonium. Wanting to understand the crystal better, we head to Elpis to see if we can figure out anything over there. On Elpis we meet a young ancient called Themis, which we later learn is actually Elidibus. We pretend to be Asim's familiar once more and promise to help him with his investigation into Pandemonium, as something seems to be going wrong. Pandemonium is a facility where concepts that are too dangerous to be stored in Elpis or worked on there are sent to Pandemonium to be worked on or at least stored. The facility seems to do a really good job, as we do meet the proto-carbuncle there, which is gigantic and horrible, but somehow will end up turning into our cute carbuncle friends. So clearly whatever they're doing there does really work. Another important note is Pandemonium seems to exist within some sort of a pocket dimension, so if things go seriously wrong, the space where the facility is located can be collapsed, killing everything inside. This is a possible solution to our problem, but we end up not going with it. We find Pandemonium seemingly abandoned, and the wards keeping the place safe are damaged. Themis tries to fix the wards while we are attacked by one of the wardens who seems to have lost his mind. This is Eric Thonios, which I will just call Eric from now on because I find his name kinda hard to pronounce. After we beat up Eric, he comes to his senses and joins us and Themis in our attempt to save the facility. Over time we actually learn that Eric's in fact son of La Habrea, the ruler of the facility, and Athena, the former ruler of the facility, but she died some time ago. Eric is also uniquely pretty terrible at magic, while La Habrea is one of the strongest magic users in this world. So while Eric is a warden and knows the proper spells to bind the creatures within the facility, he does not have enough power to do it. So we make a team of 3. We will beat up the enemy, then Eric will perform the right spell, and Themis will supply him with the required power. And so we head into the facility, taking down both Hippocampus and the Phoenix. We learn the facility is split into sort of rings, and each ring has a key warden. But we soon learn that the key wardens have been corrupted and merged with some creations, each going utterly mad in the process. Hesperus is the first key warden we come across. This used to be a very kind and caring man, and now he's turned into this sort of an evil, power-hungry, vampire-like guy. So he has had a complete personality change after being corrupted, and while we do try to capture him to get some information, he actually takes his own life after we beat him. With the first area of the raid done, we head back to the source for a bit, and soon enough are summoned by Claudian again for the second part. It turns out Claudian is becoming more and more obsessed with the crystal. He claims there is a second crystal somewhere in the present, and the crystals long to be made whole by being united. We don't really know much about the crystal yet, so we return to Pandemonium to try to answer the question of who this crystal used to belong to. This time in Pandemonium, things get a little bit weird. As we go to the facility, we find Eric being harassed by somebody claiming to be La Habrea. We manage to stop what seems to be an attempted kidnapping of Eric, and we end up going into a teleportation trap where we meet the proto-carbuncle. After defeating him, this weird fake version of La Habrea drops his disguise and reveals himself to be Hephaistos, and he promises he can bring Athena back from the dead if Eric is willing to help him. He vanishes for now, and we get to meet the true La Habrea, who teams up with us to deal with the facility. Together with him, Eric and Themis, we go to deal with the other key wardens who have also been horrifically corrupted. And while Eric is doing good, La Habrea still voices concerns about Eric being detrimental to the mission of stopping Hephaistos, as Eric wants to know what the being meant by being able to bring Athena back. The two get into a fight, and Eric gets possessed by Hephaistos and taken down to the deepest level of the facility known as Tartarus. La Habrea realizes the error of his way, and we head down there to save Eric. But to get there, we first have to get past the final keyword then, which is Athena. She used to be La Habrea's right-hand person within the facility, and while we cannot save her because she has been so heavily corrupted, after we kill her, her spirit does show up for a bit and tells us the truth about everything. It turns out La Habrea did kill Athena, but she was not the kind of loving mother Eric thought she was. He was actually planning to use him as a key component in an experiment. After Athena died, La Habrea pushed away from the boy so he would focus all his rage and anger on La Habrea, meaning he would never look deeper into his mother's death, and therefore hopefully never discover what she was planning to do to him. Athena's laboratory is located in Tartarus, and we make our way there to find Eric captured by Hephaistos. We take Hephaistos down, but as La Habrea is about to strike the killing blow, he uses Eric as a shield. Thankfully, we manage to wake Eric from his trance, and Eric manages to encase Hephaistos in an ethereal casket, which La Habrea binds even further, till in the end nothing remains but a fiery red crystal. After Eric has regained his senses, La Habrea explained what happened to Athena, explaining how he discovered her experiment, and journeyed to Pandemonium to stop her, to understand her and see if she even truly ever loved him. La Habrea and Athena bonded their souls, but with this La Habrea became corrupted with her unquenchable thirst for knowledge. So La Habrea was forced to cut away part of his soul and seal it within a crystal to save himself. But even this was part of Athena's scheme, as this crystal was used to give life to a vessel, creating Hephaistos to continue her work. But with Hephaistos defeated, Pandemonium is now under control, so it's time for us to leave and let the father and son deal with getting the facility back in order. We head back to the source to talk to Claudian, but we learn he has actually disappeared. He went to Asisla to do some research and never came back. Along with that, some confluence energy has been detected in the ethereal sea. So we go to the ether scope, only to see Pandemonium floating there in the empty void. So it's decided that we are going to contact people in Iscar to help find Claudian again, and the people of Charlayan will keep an eye on Pandemonium in the ethereal sea. And that's where we are right now for part 3 to begin. If you like videos like this or deeper Final Fantasy lore videos, make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell and interact with the video because that always makes me really happy. But for now, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a lot of fun in patch 6.4.